wasn't until 2020 that I actually sat down and watched Texas Chainsaw.
All right, how do I turn this off?
Hey! Here we
Welcome
are.
to the Screaming Room.
It is 7 p.m. on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, whatever time it is on the other half of the world. But we are live. We are talking Collector 3. That's right, puppy love. And we are also talking about the new Terrifier 3 teaser that just dropped. It's not a full trailer. It's a teaser, I thought.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I don't know. I haven't seen it. Like, I actually resisted.
I've seen something before you. I saw something before Kanan
all day to watch it. I could have seen it. I bet everybody and their mother asking me about it.
You waited for the show tonight.
Yep. I'm like, I want to react. Like, honestly, I want to react live on the podcast. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. 9 a.m. in Australia right now. How's it going, Peach? Thank you for joining us.
What are you eating for breakfast?
Yeah, what's for breakfast in Australia?
DJ's over here trying to wolf down some meatloaf.
I am. It's my dinner time. Usually I eat after the show, but I couldn't handle myself. I was going to eat my microphone, so I'm eating food. So I'm probably going to look like this for a little bit, just so that I can eat. So you guys get to look at Skelly Prophet guy for a little bit. But anyway, let's get into it. Why don't you kick us off?
Might as well start with the Terrifier trailer.
You want to start with that? Okay, let's do that. Let me open that up. Terrifier, you're excited for Terrifier 3, aren't you?
Oh yeah. That's why I wanted to wait. Dude, I am a big fan of Terrifier. Like, I love Art the Clown. I love the directions that this franchise is going. Like, it just keeps getting better and better. But a lot of it is I love to see the coronation of a new horror icon. You know, because a lot of the ones we have, like, dude, either you weren't even alive yet, or I was really little, like, when they started. So, like, if you think about it, I was
very young.
Ghostface is one that I remember, you know, I was a teenager when that came out. So I remember Ghostface, you know, becoming a thing. But, like, there hasn't been very many, because most of our big horror, you know, Mount Rushmore, they're all from back in the 80s, like 70s and 80s. So that's a lot of what I love about it, is just seeing him come from this super underground. Nobody knew about him. But people that did were like, you got to see, you know, got to see Art the Clown, got to see Terrifier. And it's always been more about him than it is the movies. It's not that the movies are, like, especially the first one, like, a lot of people love it, and that's fine. But, like, it's not exactly a movie. It's kind of a what do you call it? A B-reel of special effects. You know, like, if you know the story, Damien Leone basically made it to show his wares. He just made it to kind of show off what he could do. Like, what's that called when someone puts, like, makes a
demo reel?
Demo reel.
A demo reel.
So it's basically, it was like a demo reel, and it was like $30,000 to make. And it just caught life, and it started this whole thing. So that's what's exciting. I mean, because he did, we did have Art the Clown before Terrifier, because it started with
that
All
Hallows
Eve. Yeah, All Hallows Eve.
Right.
But that doesn't feel like Art the Clown, because it wasn't played by David Howard Thornton. That it was played by a different guy. So to me, Art the Clown really begins in Terrifier, because that's when the humor and the real style of it all began. And I think as much like that movie became iconic as much because of the special effects and the gore as it did just how creative and interesting David Howard Thornton is to watch as Art the Clown. So,
well, let's go. Let's give this a watch.
All right.
Is this copywritten music? I hope this isn't copywritten music. We have to talk over it if so.
It won't matter. I haven't been monetizing because trailers always get copyrighted.
Oh yeah, it's Silent Night. We're good.
I doubt they'll copyright us on this because they're wanting people to react to this. He is so gonna kill Santa Claus. Yeah, that's definitely a teaser, not a trailer.
Yes. And I'm back.
I actually liked the first teaser they made last year. Like, what was it? Last November, December, something like that when it came out.
Yeah.
It was cool. That was really memorable because like I went to the theaters and saw Terrifier 2 again. Like they re-released it I think it was November. It was either the end of October or November. And they gave away these posters, but at the end of Terrifier 2, they played the teaser trailer, and it was really cool because it wasn't on the internet yet. You had to like go and see it in theaters to see it, but like they specially shot that to be a teaser, whereas this looks like it's actual footage from the movie. I'll have to rewatch it, but it doesn't look as polished as Terrifier 2. I wonder if they're kind of trying to go back more to the grimy grittiness of the first one.
You know? Maybe. I don't know. It's just a teaser. I mean, it definitely looks like
that's the other thing.
It looks like the colors are muted, but
it just had a harsher, like more black tone. Looked a little more, like I said, like the first one.
Where's this collector story?
It's on Bloody Disgusting.
I couldn't find
it's also all over. Just simply Google search, like just Google Collector 3. You'll see the story because he did an interview. The filmmaker did an interview talking about what's going on with. Like it's really exciting because, like if we're not going to talk anymore about Terrifier 3, I guess we'll move on to Collector. But
well, I mean,
what's really exciting?
About? I can just shit all over it, and people can comment that they hate me after I do that. So like that's what we can do if you want to talk more about Terrifier 3.
No, it doesn't show a lot. Like there's not a lot to say because that little teaser doesn't really, it's just like a hype reel. It's just kind of like a moving photograph of gore and like, I mean, it's like what you expect. Art the Clown just being crazy. So yeah, no, I'm good with moving on to Collector. I am really excited about the Collector 3 because like you hadn't seen the Collector movies yet, right?
I had not. I had missed these. I just watched the first one.
Collector? Okay, so
I just watched the first one. I have not seen the collection yet.
Yeah, I think you'll dig the second one too, or at least it's interesting to watch. I don't know if you'll like it, but it's definitely interesting to watch. There's one opening kill scene in particular that separates Collector 2 from a lot of movies. Like
I heard, so I had been reading about it,
crazy.
And I heard that they stepped up. They stepped it up in the collection, Collector 2.
It's just insane. It's like it's up there with that scene from Ghost Ship where the wire cuts through everybody.
Oh yeah. Oh, nice.
It's like up there in that level of crazy gore, like insane. But I won't say anything else because it's good to watch. But yeah, I've been really excited about this story because the last I heard, it wasn't happening. Like there was not going to be a Collector 3. And it's a real shame because there's so much more that could be done with this killer. I feel like they just barely scratched the surface with what could be done. Like for one, I love his look. He's got a really unique kind of, it doesn't really look like anything else. And I've thought that he could be another super iconic killer, but then, it's been a number of years now, quite a while, right? Since the second movie. So Did you find the article?
I found it. I'm going to read it here in a second. For those of you who don't know yet, I smoke a hookah while during this show, and as I was setting it up, I forgot to put water in the base. So I have to. I'm going to have to do that after I read this article. So sorry about that. I'm a hot mess tonight, but that's what you expect here on the Screaming Room. So
am I. I've been struggling over here trying to shoot a video, like literally timed it like up to the right before we went live. Finishing. I'm still putting the final touches on saving the file.
And that's why you should subscribe to the Screaming Room and share our show and support us so that we can make a living out of this. And we don't have to
work so hard at this stuff.
Like this, we really do. It's a full-time job for no money. So if you have not subscribed to the Screaming Room yet, please do that. If you're watching on the Ghost Pirate channel, please move over to the Screaming Room channel. Watch us there, comment there. We're really trying to grow this channel. And we're eventually not going to be streaming. Yeah, we're eventually not going to be streaming on Ghost Pirate anymore. So all right, so let's get into this. So this is from Screen Rant, the rag that is. The Collected. So that's the third one. I love the titles for these movies are, I mean, like they're chef's kiss, right? The Collector, The Collection, and The Collected.
And the Collected.
That is good. So The Collected has gotten an update after years of waiting. The upcoming The Collected, a sequel to the 2009 horror movie The Collector and its follow-up The Collection, has been in development since the latter's release in 2012. Although it was officially announced in 2014 with star Josh Stewart set to return, development had stalled as of 2018. It was revived in 2019, but production stalled several days in, with further development at a standstill. Franchise co-writer and director Marcus Dunstan revealed that this was partially due to the fact that he did not hold the rights to the franchise. That sucks. The Direct recently sat down for an interview with Marcus Dunstan. During their conversation, he confirmed that the sequel was back in development, revealing that the legal elements holding it back were all alleviated. So that's good news. The team isn't rushing the project into development, hoping that they can put together the best version of the movie possible using ideas for the story that they have been brainstorming for quite some time. I mean, they've obviously had time to do that.
Yeah.
However, he is insistent that he can, quote, shout it loud and proud, the Collector is coming back, end quote. The full quote is down here. We don't have to read it. Oh, okay. When could the Collected come out? While Dunstan seems confident that the Collector sequel will finally see the light of day, it will still likely be some time before it actually hits theaters. Yeah, I mean, like it usually takes about a year.
Yeah, I would say a year from now we'll probably start to actually maybe get a trailer or actually know a date. You know,
the production process
probably probably early next year is when they would start shooting.
Right. The production process could be complicated by the availability of Dunstan and if they want him to reprise the role of Final Boy, Arkin O'Brien, Josh Stewart. Stewart has remained active in the industry and has taken on a variety of major roles in the meantime, including playing Wallace in the Apple TV Plus historical miniseries Manhunt. Additionally, even if the screenplay is completed quickly due to the amount of time that Dunstan and his co-writer Patrick Melton have already had to develop ideas, the new horror movie's production timeline could be prolonged by various factors. In addition to assembling a cast, a budget, and locations, the movie could premiere more than a year after it wraps. I mean, yeah, that's typical. The franchise has so far had somewhat extended post-production periods, something that was compounded by the sequel's pre-release festival run. Below, see when the movies were shot compared to the release dates. I mean, this is typical.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be that long though, because I don't think they would bother of coming out with this story and he would bother doing this interview if they weren't trying to start to build hype. And you know what I mean? You don't do that if you're not already greenlit. So, like it says in development, but there's different stages of development. Sometimes someone will be in development and it's like literally they don't have a script yet. They don't know for sure if it's happening or when or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But yeah, I think this is, we're going to start to hear more and more about this going forward pretty quick.
Let me finish this article and then I want you to give your thoughts while I put water in this basin and we can then talk about it. And I want to talk about the first movie. Even if The Collected completes pre-production before the end of the year and shoots in early 2025, it might not come to theaters until mid 2026. So for those of you who are freaking out in the chat, we got a lot of Collected fans in the chat today. For those of you guys getting excited,
it's a beloved franchise, man.
It's gonna be
I guess it's not officially a franchise, but
yeah. Or later, given the precedent set by the previous movies in the franchise. Ultimately, it remains to be seen how quickly all the elements required to bring this new story to life come together. However, Dunstan's confidence in the project makes it likely that the wait for the new sequel won't extend to 2 decades at the very least. Well, that's good. So,
yeah, I would think not.
All right, so go ahead and give your thoughts on that while I fix this, and I'll give mine.
Yeah, I just think it's so cool because the last I had heard, there was like all these rumors. I don't know exactly what is real and what's not, but the word on the street, so to speak, was they started shooting, but then with like their basically COVID hit, the whoever was putting the money together, I forget which studio it was, basically said, hey, they basically pulled funding and we're just like, yeah, we're not shooting anymore. And they lost the rights to it because they don't own the rights to it. And so if the studio that they're shooting it through, put a kibosh on it, it's dead in the water. And so that's basically what happened. So from what I've heard, they sold the rights to somewhere else. I don't know what studio yet. I don't know any of the details like that. But from what I've been hearing, basically another studio is now funding it and it's a full go because they like literally went and purchased the rights to the franchise to be able to make a movie. So that's what I've heard, which also, like I said, they're not going to bother coming out with this story if it's not happening. And from what I've heard, that they bought it, meaning they're like putting this in motion pretty fast because they've spent money to buy this franchise. They're not going to spend money to buy it and then take 3 years to put it out.
Yeah.
So my guess is we'll see this in like spring at the latest of 2026, if not like January, February, But I'm just curious to see what kind of budget they have and like how legit this is going to be treated. Like, is this going to be theatrical, or is it going to be more of a streamer, or a real limited theater release? Like, so I'm really curious because right now I don't know who bought it. I don't know who's putting it out. Like, I haven't heard anywhere who's putting it out. So
let's go to IMDb Pro and do some digging. It looks like, I wonder if the numbers will have. So it was the collector, the first movie was a $6 million budget.
Yeah. I know the second was less, right?
The collection, I don't know. I'm just looking at the collector. And I wonder if the collected, let me see here if there's related films. So I would assume they're going to get anywhere between 10 to 15 million, which is good.
I don't think they'll get anywhere near that much of a
You don't
budget.
think so?
No. I think it would be close to that original. And I'm hoping they get that. That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping this isn't like a 1 to 5 million range. I'm hoping it's a 5 to 10 range.
I'm saying adjusted for inflation. If they get 10 million.
Yeah, but a lot of movies don't get, a lot of horror does not get anywhere near that kind of budget, man. Most horror movies are made for $1 million or so.
Well, I mean, I think they should.
I agree, but
$1 to $10 million. That's the sweet spot for horror. So 828 Productions and Front Row Filmed Entertainment are the production and distributor behind The Collected right now. That's according to IMDb Pro. Let me
The Collected?
Yeah. Look.
Okay. That makes me think that they still got to shop it. Like, cause who are they? They're not, that isn't a big enough company to do a national distribution.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah. That to me is just who's making the movie. Like, it'll probably still get picked up by somewhere like Blumhouse or A24 or Neon or something like that.
The Collected. Yeah. It says, right here, 828 Productions. I know we're doxing them right now. So what?
Who's done 828? Like, what have they done?
The 828 has done The Fallout, The Price We Pay, 12 movies.
Oh, they did The Price We Pay?
Meridian.
That was pretty good. But see, that wasn't a movie. These are movies that didn't get theatrical releases. So that's my concern. Like, I'm hoping that this gets enough buzz.
They're not horror either, unless
The Price We Pay is.
The Price We Pay is horror? Okay.
Very horror.
Okay, well, I haven't seen it, so okay.
Yeah, that movie's cool. It's super underrated. It fucking goes off the rails, especially at the end of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, fucking crazy.
So
it's a cool movie. It's almost got like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Hills Have Eyes kind of vibe to it.
Well, I gotta watch it.
It's about these thieves that basically break down in the middle of nowhere and go to this farm to like, they figure they're gonna like kill and steal the car or whatever, but they go there to like kind of get help or whatever. But they have bad intentions. Like, they're not gonna actually go there for help. They're more just like gonna go fuck them up and jack the stuff or whatever.
Right.
And they stumble across some crazy ass shit. And like, it just gets more and more fucked up and weird and everything as it goes. So It's actually a pretty cool movie. It's not perfect, but it deserves more attention.
Well, I'll watch it. That sounds good. I need a movie to review for my other channel, so maybe that'll be it. I don't know if I'm going to review
it's over on Peacock. I think it's on Peacock.
Oh, it's on Peacock? Come on. All these streaming services. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's
like a Peacock original.
I'll do a trial.
That's what I'm saying about this A28. I hope it's like, because like I said, a lot of their movies, they go to just streaming services, kind of like the old days with the via, like, straight to DVD, straight to video kind of thing. Now we have these straight to streaming service releases, or Tubi releases.
Yeah.
So I hope this gets enough we get an actual theatrical. I mean, either way, it's going to be exciting to finally get a new collector. But
so I want to talk about it for a little bit if you want to, because I just watched it. It's fresh in my mind. I have thoughts.
Yeah, I also wanted to bring up that story about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot. Or
okay.
Soft reboot, whatever, because they announced the cast to it.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
The thing I'm curious about with this is the main original people are cast in it, but I'm curious how much they're going to be in it.
Oh, they're not
going to. Like, are they going to do what Scream 6 did, where they bring back all the icons, but they're kind of just a little, not much more than cameo kind of thing? Or are they going to actually be?
I can't imagine.
Yeah, but why would you even do it? Like, I understand Freddie Prinze Jr. He doesn't have much going on. Same with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Or not Sarah Michelle Gellar. I forget which ones. I know Freddie Prinze Jr. and what's her name? Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, but she's the one that I'm surprised is doing it. And I can't imagine her coming in for just a cameo. Because she's got plenty of stuff. She's always doing different movies and TV shows. And she's, still fairly popular, So like, I don't know. I don't think she would do it unless there was some actual substance to it, but
maybe, who knows? Maybe maybe it's a paycheck. Maybe
I'm very on the fence with it, because I loved those movies, the first two. The third one was horrible. It's like one of the worst.
It's bad.
One of the worst fucking horror sequels ever.
But okay, well, I mean, we could talk about that real quick. I got the article pulled up here.
Were you a fan of I Know What You Did Last Summer?
I like the first one better than the second and third. The first one, I think, is a classic. That's a good early 2000s slasher.
Yeah,
I think that was good. And that's what I wanted to say about The Collector. Collector came out in 2010 or 2009. Sorry, 2009. It came out in
It
09.
feels from that era.
And it feels from that era. I texted
Yep.
Sam when I was watching this, and I was like, this opening credit sequence is so 2010. And then I looked it up on IMDb, and I was like, oh, that's when it came out. So of course,
that's part of what I love about that movie. It has that Saw Hostel era feel about it, and I really like that. But I felt like it did some more original things though than a lot of the other kind of knockoffs from that era.
I think they did a good job riding on the coattails of Saw and Hostel. My biggest issue with the movie is two issues. One is an aesthetic issue. And so I'll just get that out of the way. The movie was way too green.
Yeah.
Whoever
that era. That's that era.
I get
Everybody
it,
colorized the fuck out of their movies, which was horrible.
I know, but... and I know the Matrix kicked off that green trend. I mean, the Matrix kicked off a bunch of trends, but
I don't think the Matrix kicked that off. That was like, I'm pretty sure that was kind of going before that, but it's like everybody color gay stuff. Like the movie The Ring.
Oh yeah, I know.
Green as hell. Like everything.
It's not as green as the Collector. As the Collector,
dude.
The Collector is green.
Well, yeah, because it got more and more that way. Like it's insane. Like, what was it I was watching recently? That was just like so saturated. Like the Saw movies. If you watch the Saw movies, they got worse and worse as they went.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It reminds me of our background right now. Yeah. But that was just a thing. It's like something like we look at movies from the 70s, 80s, like you can tell the era based on style choices, and that's But I'm with you. I'm not a fan of that, but I still love that in that movie because I'm like it fills up that era, so I'm okay with it. But I do agree, like I would never do that shit to a movie.
And the other problem that I had is that the timing that everything happens in between when he leaves the house. Like, if you have not seen The Collector, it's old enough that I don't care about spoilers. Is that okay? Can we?
Yeah, I would think most people here have seen it.
I mean, everybody in the chat is like, I love Collector. So I don't think
if you haven't seen The Collector, then just turn this off because you really should go watch it. It's free right now on Tubi, so there's no excuses. Just go watch it.
So the other
But it's also one of those movies, even if you know what happens, like you could know beat for beat what happens, and it's still worth watching. Because like the story, so to speak, doesn't really matter. It's like it's very Saw in that way, where it's about the carnage, it's about the uncomfortable, like fucked upness of it. It's
right, but
not
Saw
so much about the story.
The first Saw had a great story.
Yeah.
And a great twist. And a great
all the Saws have story. I'm saying that's not necessarily why you go to see the movie.
No, I understand. But if you're gonna put a story in, just make sure it's good. Make sure you work on that story. That's gonna elevate that's gonna make everything else about your movie better, is if it has a good story as well. So one of my gripes about The Collector that I was just scratching my head about was the intricacies of this guy's booby traps in the house. You cannot sell me that he did that in 6 hours or less. You cannot sell me. Some of those traps, the way that they were set up and the way that they were so meticulously planned and the way that everything was set up to be what they were, and we didn't even get to see all of them.
Yeah.
And he said that, and he's in the middle of torturing the family by the time dude gets back to
why do you think it's 6 hours?
Well, I'm assuming it's 6 hours because as we come into the movie, they're all leaving a job, right? The family's getting ready to leave. It's probably late afternoon, right? You're probably looking at like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. He goes back, has the drama with his baby mama and his daughter, makes the deal with the thugs at night, so, and when he gets there, because he has to get the money by midnight. When he gets there,
I always thought that The Collector had been like, this is a house that he had been casing for a long time and had set all this up over a period of time. It wasn't until that night that he decides to like do his stuff. But like, if you look at a lot of the booby traps and shit, a lot of those could have been like set up ahead of time and not made active, so to speak, until that night.
No, there's like tripwires everywhere.
Yeah, but that stuff doesn't take long to set up. Like tripwires and the barbed wire and stuff like that.
Knives attached to everything, hooks attached to everything, an entire room full of bear traps, which that kill was pretty awesome. Like,
but I don't know, man. That's an argument that you could make about Saw as well. So you gotta you kind of gotta put yourself because
that's
so
a family
many things that Jigsaw sets up as a guy who's dying from cancer. You're like,
I'm gonna argue it. Jigsaw has help. The traps are set up in a warehouse that nobody's in. It's an abandoned location. He has all the time he needs, and nobody's checking him out. These booby traps are happening.
That's literally a retcon that they did in order to make it all work later on. Like in the first movie, you didn't know he had a bunch of help and everything.
Yeah, you did. He had the orderly. The orderly was his helper.
That's one person. It wasn't until later on you find out, oh shit, Jigsaw's basically got like a small army.
Right.
It's got all different people working.
Listen, I understand the flaws in Saw. I get it. But I think the argument that Jigsaw, that it's okay that this house that had people living in it, that had people looking at things, could have been set up the way that it was in such
you're
a
not wrong
time.
I'm not arguing that you're wrong.
I'm not saying the movie's bad.
I'm just saying it's like a lot of movies where you gotta kind of accept that you're in a different universe. You know, it's like the thing about long legs. It's why some people's argument and whatnot with long legs, same kind of thing, where it's like, you got to accept that you're in this reality where these laws and these rules and these things apply in this reality. It doesn't, if you want to, I mean, here's the thing. If you want to go into a movie and enjoy it, and this is kind of the argument I make every week on this podcast, and it's just my whole logic and way of looking at horror in general, is like, do you either want to be entertained or do you want to like just nitpick? And I think a lot of people just sit there, and I'm not saying you, DJ, I'm not pointing at anybody in particular.
Yeah, so don't be in the comments on this video.
They just want to, it's like a lot of people, all they want to do is just tear something apart. And it's like, you're only hurting yourself, because if you could put those things aside, you can enjoy it, or you could just sit there and pick it apart. You're not. But DJ, you don't fit in this the same as what I'm talking about, because you're an aspiring filmmaker yourself. So it's like any artist out there, when this is your trade. Like, my job is to enjoy horror movies. You know what I mean? Your job is to make movies. There's a big difference. Like, you need to learn from mistakes. And also you can create the way you see film and the best film that you can make. And the way you do that is by, being a critic, so to speak, but not just a critic, but by, dissecting a movie, the good, the bad, the whatever. And it's like me, that's why I never want to call myself a critic, because I'd much rather enjoy a movie than figure out what's wrong with a movie. So like, I'm not arguing that you're wrong. Yeah, and that's why I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I think those are things that most of us that love The Collector, it's like, just, the color, it looks like shit, but that's kind of part of its charm, like the stuff. You got to like check your brain at the door a little bit with that movie. It's just like Hostel. There's so much of that shit that it would really work in reality.
Mark is asking, does anyone know if there is a Terrifier triple DVD set out? They probably will have one once the third movie is released. Like once that comes out, they're probably going to have a
only physical release I know of right now is they released Terrifier 2 on VHS, which I really need to get a copy of.
Yeah. So anyway, so The Collector,
like there isn't, the third movie is not even out yet. It's
right.
We only got a teaser. So, maybe next year they'll release some kind of, box set or something.
So back to The Collector. I wasn't a fan of the ending. It didn't feel like sequel bait. I didn't think that they had a sequel in mind when they ended it. I just didn't like that they set up his whole motivation is to get this money so that these loan sharks don't like go after his girlfriend, whatever, his daughter's mother. Yeah. We don't get a resolution to that. He just gets stuffed in a trunk and then the credits roll. And I was the
sequel literally takes off like right from that. It's one of those sequels where it's almost like the second half of a movie.
Right.
Like I
so
think they did a good job of like it really being attached together.
Well, so that's a good open.
And then it makes the first one, the ending, feel a little bit better. I agree with you. Because on my first watch, I was like, really?
Yeah,
like that's how we're looking at this. But then when you see the second one, you're like, okay, it's kind of like Rocky, right? Well, the end of Rocky, you're like, oh, come on. But then, you know, when you see Rocky 2, they fuse together really well. And
so
it makes that ending work better.
The reason I like the ending of Rocky is that I was fine with that ending because the whole point of the story is the moral of the story is always keep trying, always get up, even if you lose, and you will lose. And so, but you always have to get up. And I like that moral. I like that story. I like that. I like that concept. And so that's why the ending of Rocky did not upset me, because like
I always think that what they did with Rocky, the thing they added on like on the VHS copy and on re-release, whatever, because most people don't know. Like if you watch Rocky right now, this is not horror by any means, but if you watch Rocky right now, the first one, right? There's the fight, like, the whole Indian or whatever, they're in the center, like whatever, that's where it ends.
Yeah.
But if you watch it now, that's not how it ends, but that's how the theatrical ended. It ended with them in the ring and all that. Now, if you watch it, it ends with him being in the hospital, like going into the hospital or whatever. That's how it ends. And it's because that fuses together with the second one. And I've always thought that's fascinating that they added that, because that's from the second movie, but they added it on to the end of the first movie.
Right. I don't think they should have, but whatever, it works. John says, DJ, I think when Arkin was in the news, mob guys didn't want to get near the heat. Yeah, that's fine. That's a good explanation, but that's not what we see. That's not what the movie offers us. So we can't, we as an audience should not be writing the movie for the movie. Right. So that's something that I always jump on. And this is what happens, again, not horror, but a lot of the complaints about, Disney Star Wars and, a lot of these Marvel movies and stuff like that have come out. Everybody's burned out on, I get it. But it's that a lot of these movies are written, like the flaws of the movies are fixed by the audience. And it's like that we can't.
Yeah, but the opposite can be said a lot of times too, especially with Marvel movies. It's that they hold your hand too much as well. Like the writer, instead of letting the audience use, like maybe fill in some of the gaps here and there, they literally just like, this is, verbatim, like this is exactly what's happening right now. And it's like, you're basically calling your audience a bunch of idiots. So
right. Yeah,
I agree. I feel like there's a fine line. Like it can't be like for a wide audience. Like if you're a writer wanting a wide audience, you cannot do what Long Legs does, where like your audience has to do a lot of heavy lifting to try to figure out what the fuck that movie was you just watched, but at the same time, a lot of us that love the, like, it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle where you're piecing it together and trying to figure out what was being said and like trying to figure out if everything is there. You just got to figure out where it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. for me, Long Legs,
audience, that's not a good idea to do.
Yeah. But for me, what Long Legs didn't do is what Seven and like The Usual Suspects did, is they presented this mystery and they let the audience go through, and you're very much an active participant in the movies. But then at the end of the movie, it wraps it up in a nice little bow. And I just don't think that Long Legs necessarily stuck that landing.
It didn't at all, but it's not those movies. That's why, like, I've argued with a lot of people about, like, it's not those movies. Like,
but it could have been.
It's almost like, yeah, but it doesn't want to be. That's the point.
And that's the
like problem. Oz Perkins was trying to make a batshit movie. Like, this movie is supposed to be fucked up. It's why like they talked about today on the Dead Meat podcast. Like, if you want to hear a really nice deep dive into the movie that I think you'll enjoy, check out their podcast that came out today talking about Long Legs. But like they mentioned today, he literally tells you the tone of the movie at the end, when basically, they're laughing. Like at the end, it's just like, hey, I'm, like he's literally smiling. Like Long Legs is literally smiling at the end of the movie. And it's a way of saying like, hey, this wasn't straight. This whole movie is meant to be a little bit like tongue-in-cheek, like bonkers, like kind of fucked up. Like if you thought it was a Silence of the Lambs where it's in a real world where things make sense, you know, you're mistaken. Like this is an artsy, weird ass, fucked up movie. It just happened to get a white audience. It's not a white audience kind of movie. So, but it's one of those things too. That's a preference thing. Like nothing you said is wrong. It's just a preference thing.
I know, because I'm right all the time.
Don't work for everyone. It just doesn't work for everyone. But there is no right and wrong. When it was something like this, it's literally a matter of taste.
Right. But so the collector, I'm gonna watch the collection. I will watch that and I will have thoughts on that. But the collector, other than the gripes that I had, I thought it was decent. I thought it was pretty enjoyable.
I'm surprised. I thought you were gonna be like, that movie's fucking horrible. What is wrong with you again?
I know, right? Because everybody thinks the DJ doesn't like anything, but that's not true. But yeah, no. I obviously it has its flaws, but I kind of went into it. It set up what it was, and it essentially gave me that, and so it's like, okay, I understand, and things made enough sense, that I could forgive the setup time and everything else, and the not so good ending. But other than that, Mr. Wonderful is saying
the whole
that the collector
stuff with the wife is fucking brutal. Like the whole stuff with the wife, like that's some of the most like skin crawling, like made me uncomfortable. Like that whole part of that movie is just like, damn.
It's pretty
There's
extreme.
some stuff in the second one that's like that too, where you're just like, oh my God, dude.
Livewire says Terrifier 3 times the plot. 3 times 0 is still 0. So I don't know. We'll see.
They're supposed to have Damien Leone promised that this one is going to have a lot more answers. He said that you were definitely going to find out what Art the Clown, what the connection between Art the Clown and Sienna is, and like stuff like that. Like what is the deal with the little demon girl and like all this shit, because the first two movies, just all they do is just give you a bunch of questions. Like there's no answers at all in either of those movies.
Yeah, they give you a bunch of questions and no characters. And but I would push back on that. Like I would push back on my own critiques of the Terrifier movies. It's like, you haven't done it for the first two. Why do it for the third? Just keep going bigger and better with the effects and the extreme and the gore. Just do that.
Yeah, but what I argue with both those movies is he's learning as a filmmaker. Like he was a special effects artist. He wasn't a writer, wasn't a director. And like, to me, each movie has gotten significantly better. Like, even if you look at Terrifier versus All Hallows Eve, like, you know what I mean? They've gotten better each one. And Terrifier 2, to me, was like leaps ahead of the first Terrifier. And there's still problems with Terrifier 2. Like, it's way too fucking long. And like I said, there's way more questions than answers, and a lot of crazy shit in it that, like, it's just not a perfect movie. But I thought it was much better than the first one. And I love both for what they are. Like, that's the thing. I guess with me, I enjoy flaws in movies and holes in movies. And so, like, if it adds character, it's like a tattoo, right? I like a shitty tattoo if it has character. Like, if it's supposed to be a fucking portrait of your wife and it looks like your dog, that doesn't add character. That's just a shitty tattoo. But if it's like a fucking, eagle and it's all like weird and all deformed and fucked up looking, like, that's kind of cool. Like, there's a, you know what I mean? There's like a coolness about the flaws in it. And that's why I love my tattoos, even though they're pretty fucked up. So, like, that's how I feel with the Terrifier movies. It's like, they're not perfect, but I love them for their flaws. Like, the same with Collector. Like, there's a real big, to me, I feel a real big, like, comparison in a lot of ways between the Terrifier movies and the Collector movies. Especially because they both have like this new killer. I want you to see, like, you need to check out, Oddities, man.
Yes,
before it leaves theaters. Like,
yeah,
I haven't decided yet, but that might be my favorite horror movie this year. Like, I don't know if I'd say it's the best. Like, I don't know if it's the best. Like, the best is still the coffee table for me, and then Long Legs would be probably the second best. But as far as my own personal enjoyment, dude, I haven't enjoyed a movie like as much as I did Oddities in like a long time. Like it actually scared me, dude.
Really?
Like, yeah, there was one scene that made me actually jump out of my seat, and it wasn't just like because it was a loud bang. It was actually like so well written, paced, edited, like that it actually legitimately scared me for a second. I was just like, nothing scared me in 10, probably over 10 years. Like I can't even remember the last time a movie actually scared me. So
I'll check it out.
yeah,
The only movie I have scheduled right now until Alien, unfortunately, is Deadpool and Wolverine, and not horror.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
But so I'm getting excited for that. Is Oddity getting released on VOD? I think it's still in the theater.
Yeah, it'll be on Shudder. It is, but it'll be on. It's a Shudder movie, so it'll be on Shudder. Definitely not August, but maybe September. My guess is late September or October. Especially with the buzz around that movie, they might wait and drop it in October.
I'll see if I can't find like a $5 showing somewhere.
Yeah, Tuesdays are always the
you're right,
$5 showings. But it is a sort of limited release. But if you have a Regal near you, it should be playing.
Yeah, we have a Regal.
Yeah, it should be playing at a Regal because I know it's playing at the Regals here. But either way, it's cool. If you can't see it in theaters, it's just the environment. Like it's one of those movies that being in a dark, quiet theater really helps. But if you watch it at home, that just make sure your lights are out and you're not watching it on a tablet, that you're watching it on at least a bigger screen if you can. It's just a cool movie. It's not like I gotta tell everybody, it's not like it's a game changer. It's just a really well done little movie. Like it's
what do you think?
Like you don't see that a lot where it's a movie that's super well written. Like it's not doing anything you haven't seen before. It just does all the things really well.
Yeah. Well, so what do you, that prompts a question for me. What do you think needs to happen for the next game changer? Like what movie do you think needs to happen, or what do you think needs to happen in a movie that makes it a game changing movie?
I think Long Legs was close. It didn't get there, but it was close. What did it do? What makes a game changer? It has to be like legitimately unique. Like to me, the last game changer was probably Hereditary.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But we only get like what I consider a game changer, like maybe one every 10 years.
Yeah.
Every 5 to 10 years. Like it's not something that happens every day. Like there's movies that are close, like The Witch. The Witch is, it could be in that conversation. I don't know if I would consider it, but it could be in that conversation. Babadook, as much as it has a lot of people that talk shit about it,
I was not a fan.
It was a game changer. It legitimately was a game changer. It changed the way horror was being written. It started what a lot of people call elevated horror, whatever. It started this whole movement, and the same with It Follows. It's like,
okay,
I'm not saying either of those are perfect movies, but both
sequel to that coming out.
Yeah, that I'm excited about. I think Talk to Me was close to being a game changer last year. You know what was a game changer? When Evil Lurks. I think When Evil Lurks is the game changer.
Okay.
And the reason I think that is because it had a whole new world. It created this entire universe with new rules, new look. Like it's actually super imaginative, because it's not just writing a good story that makes something a game changer. It's like it has to invent something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It has to be like inventive in some way, and the look of it or the something about it has to be like different than anything you've really ever seen.
There was a scene in When Evil Lurks that like legitimately made me jump for the same reasons that whatever happened in Oddity made you jump. Yep. Right? Oddity made you. It was like
When Evil Lurks is like one of the most disturbing overall, like one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen, because it's like there's three, maybe, no, I think probably 4 scenes in that even like by themselves if you took one of those scenes and put it in a movie, people would have been talking about that movie. And it had four scenes like that. The goat scene, the dog scene, the mom with the kid carrying the kid scene, and then the very end, the grandma or the mom, the grandma scene, where he pulls the hair out of the kid's mouth. And like, I don't want to spoil those because there's still a lot of people that haven't seen it, but those 4 scenes are fucking like your jaw is dropped. You're just like, that's
definitely watch When Evil Lurks.
Yeah, it's so good. If that was an American release, like if it was, if it didn't have subtitles and it was an American release, it would be the biggest horror movie in like the last fucking 20 or more years. It's just, unfortunately, a lot of people don't watch subtitles and they don't get as wide of releases.
It's sad. I want to give me 1 second. I want to bring this up because I want to address this real quick. Excuse me. Mr. Wonderful said, I would love for an In the Mouth of Madness remake, just made far better. No.
Far
here's
better.
Here's why I say no.
In the Mouth of Madness is one of the greatest horror movies ever, man. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, you're not going to make a better In the Mouth of Madness. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And my philosophy
I'm not saying you couldn't make, like a remake. I don't think you need to, but you're not going to make it better. You know what I mean? You could take that same story and do something, I don't know, different, whatever, but you're not going to make it better. Like, there's no way you can make it better. A lot of what makes it as amazing as it is, like some of the best horror movies ever, like The Thing, like a lot of the Halloween. Part of what makes them as good as they are is the time that they're set in, the way the special effects were done at that time. Like you can do effects better, right? Sorta, but it's not going to have that look. Like in the Mouth of Madness, that scene where he's running in that fucking hall and there's all the like weird ass shit coming, that weird creature thing coming behind him.
Yeah.
Like you could do it with CGI, but it's not going to look better. Like the fact that it's done practical, they literally built this entire fucking animatronic thing for that one shot. It's literally one shot, but it's one of the creepiest looking things. Like if you ever go online and look up what that, like, because there's some footage of them making it, and like it is the creepiest. Like it's got all these arms, and I don't even know. It's just, but yeah, I mean, there's so much about that movie that it's, I don't know. I want them to make In the Mountains of Madness. Like that is what they need to do.
My whole philosophy on remakes is that you should be remaking bad movies. Like that's what should get remade.
Or great. There's so many great stories still that have still never been made into movies.
Right. Yeah.
Like I just said, In the Mountains of Madness. Like there's so many H.P. Lovecraft things that still haven't been made.
You could make a movie of every H.P. Lovecraft short story. Like you could. It could be a movie. They're fantastic. Yep. So yeah, I mean, definitely like original content overall. But if you're gonna remake a movie, definitely remake a bad one. Don't remake a good one, especially a great one like In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, I still think that you could still make good movies from Stephen King. Like I think it's a travesty that people have not been able to figure out a formula besides Flanagan to make Stephen King into good movies.
Right. Flanagan knows King. I mean, he knows exactly how to execute King
because he's a writer. Because he's a writer, and he knows what you can edit out and still keep the core of what matters. And I think that's the biggest problem with most of the Stephen King adaptations is they don't edit it enough, or they edit it too much, and you don't get what made it creepy. Because you cut out too much, or you leave it too much, and it makes it fucking boring and just like,
yeah.
Another one is, dude, what about Dean Koontz? Like, are you kidding me?
Yes.
There's so many of his that nobody's ever made movies. And I'm like, one of my favorite hundreds of books.
One of my favorite movies is Phantoms.
Me too. And I mean, that could have been better. Like, but I still,
it was still
I have
great.
It right here. I love that. Where is it? It's right back here somewhere on VHS. Like, I adore it. It's one of my, I'm excited. I just tracked this down the other day.
Freaking Ben Affleck. Ooh, look at that.
The Serpent and the Rainbow on VHS, man.
Nice. Where'd you find that?
I only get mine in the wild. I found it at this little like I don't know, it's this cool little place we have called the Cave, and it's like it sells CDs, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. It's like pops. It has all kind, but most of it's like used. It's like kind of like a pawn shop, but only for cool shit. A friend of mine owns it. He like it's doing so well. They opened up like I think they have like 4 locations now. Like it's killing it. But
I like how you said only for cool shit.
It is like they don't like, have like they have some clothes but it's not like what I mean is it's not like a thrift store. They don't have like they don't have just like whatever. Like it's all stuff that he buys. Like they personally buy the stuff. So it's like what do you call it? It's not a pawn shop or a thrift store. It's like a boutique sort of. I don't know. Yeah. It's cool. It's like, do you remember Tower Records? Did you ever have those growing up? Yeah. It's kind of like a Tower, especially towards the end of Tower when they had T-shirts and some toys and like it was like they had a lot more than just CDs. It's kind of like that at the end. But they have like it's a big ass fucking store, and it's got like this section has all band shirts, like old rock shirts and metal shirts. Like this section has just little pops and action figures. Some of them are like still in the package. Some of them are out of the packages. It's also where I found this guy, fucking Mandy, Red from Mandy. I didn't even know they made a pop of this. Like, I can't believe they made a pop of Red from Mandy. Like, Mandy is such an underrated, like, underground movie. I was shocked. I was like, what? Like, is that real? But you've seen Mandy, right?
I've seen Mandy. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's all right. Like we're in the last few minutes of the show. So
well, let's talk to some of these comments. Let's
see what people are saying. People are talking about.
If you guys have any questions, now is a great time to throw out some questions at us.
Take it easy.
Is that Leslie?
Thanks for watching. Yeah, Leslie's in the chat. We got a lot of people in the chat. Let me see here. John says they need to redo Dean Koontz's The Watchers. Yes, that's such a good book where they actually stick to the book and not what Corey Haim's version did. I did not see Corey Haim's version of The Watchers. Apparently,
me either.
But it's a great book. But yeah, if you guys have any questions for us for the show, we got a few minutes left. We'd love to see it. Mr. Wonderful wants to know where Kanan's hookah is.
Oh, I don't smoke. I smoked for 26 years, I think it was, like 3 packs of cigarettes a day. So I have to now. I've been smoke free now for 5 years. So,
attaboy.
I stay away from tobacco completely. I just can't risk it, man. I love tobacco way too much. Love it way too much.
Jack wants to know if you've seen Kill
cigars, hookah. What is it? Kill? No, I wanted to go see it, but it's already out of theaters.
Yeah, I know. Same.
Like you can rent it now. I saw that today that it's a rental now on Prime, which is cool, and I probably will rent it. But I wanted to go see it in theaters, but like I've been so busy just trying to crank out videos. Like I dropped a video this last Friday, or I dropped a video this last Friday. Then again on this past Monday, I have one that I'm editing right now that I'm trying to drop this Friday, maybe Saturday at the latest. And then I just shot another one that I'm going to be working on for like I've been dropping like almost 2 videos a week. So
he's a madman, folks. I'm struggling just to do 1 video a week on my channel.
Yeah.
And then this podcast.
Well, and these are long, man. These are long.
Yeah.
Like they take me like 30 hours each or more to edit.
It's a full-time
job. It takes me like from beginning to end, like putting the list together, not watching the movies. That part, I don't even know if you added that part, but just the like putting the list together, writing my notes, shooting the video, editing the video, doing the thumbnail, putting it out. It takes me 4 full days of like at least 10 hours a day of work. So from beginning to end, it's about a 40-hour. So to do 2 in a week, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that about does us. If you have not subscribed to the screen,
I see Jack Doobie in there. What is Jack saying?
Well, Jack asked
He
us
always,
if we saw
he always
Kill,
makes corny jokes.
and then he said he saw Oddity yesterday. Thought it was pretty good. Asked what we thought. I haven't seen it yet. Kanan thought it was good.
Yeah, I did a review. You got to go watch that review, Jack, if you want to know what I thought. Like, it legitimately scared me. And I'm not saying, like I said, it's not necessarily Oddity's not necessarily a game changer, but it's just a really well done horror movie. It's made by the same guy that did Caveat, which is something that not a ton of people have seen Caveat, but it's another real hidden gem. It's actually going to be on my next list. This next list will be, or next video is Shudder. But I'm talking about it again. But like, if you haven't seen Caveat, it's over on Shudder, and it's one of those, once again, that it's not that it's like, in this case though, it is pretty unique. Like, there's some things that the whole premise and the whole setup and stuff in Caveat, it's really unique. It's just unfortunately, because it's such a small budget, like little tiny movie, like it didn't get to, it didn't get a theatrical release or anything. It was before Shudder started doing the IFC theatrical releases. But
Right.
Caveat is like one of the most unique, like cool little horror movies that's been put out in quite a while. It's like everybody I recommended to that watches it is like, what the fuck, dude? That movie's weird and just like unique. Like, there's this weird little fucking rabbit thing. But anyway, this is his follow-up. So Oddity is his second movie, and it's less unique and creative, but it's just as like creepy and unnerving, but it's even better. Like, it's even better polished. And like that's the big thing I could say about it is it's not like it's anything that's going to be like, wow, I've never seen anything like that before. It's not like that, but it's just, everything is like really meticulously put together. You could tell that the dialogue is well thought out, that the props are well thought out. Like, everything feels like he took his time and made sure that all these pieces were well put together. And I think that's the thing. Like, if you don't have the most unique idea in the world, that's fine. Just make it a good movie. Like, I think that's what a lot of people like kind of miss on when it comes to making a movie. It's like, it may sound easier said than done, like, oh, just make a good movie, but it's not. It's like, it's about making sure, but it's not that I'm talking about. It's about, don't slap shit out. Like, too often, because of a lot of it's because of money, it's like things get rushed out. It's like, instead of taking that extra time to edit it or get that extra person's opinion, but like, make all the, it's like when I was making music, we'd always have a good track that was like 90% there by the end of day one. And you spend the next week polishing it to get it to that 99%. And that little extra 10 or little 9% actually is what separates. It's what separates. It's what takes something from being good to great, from being okay to good. It is always what takes something into that next level. And you could take a movie that's just, it's all right, and take it into being in that good or into that very good category from just putting that extra into it. So
definitely. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, guys. We will be back next week. Same channels, 7 o'clock Eastern, whatever time that is. Whatever time that is for you guys. Please
4 o'clock.
Subscribe to the Screaming Room, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And we'd love to see you over on the Screaming Room. Please leave a comment on this video after it uploads. We'll read all the comments because we can't get to all the chats. Chat, you guys are great. We love seeing it. I'd love to be able to get to all you guys, but please comment. We will respond to all your comments.
And I'm going to LA. I'm going to LA this weekend to the Midsummer Scream. So if anybody's in the LA area and going to Midsummer Scream, come say hi.
Yeah, do that. We'll
definitely talk about it on the next podcast too, because like from what I've heard, it's like really cool thing. So nice. And I'm meeting like with a producer for lunch and musicians, a bunch of different pretty interesting people. I'll just put it that way. So,
I will be editing the Hellgate. That's what I'll be doing.
Good.
But anyway, so thanks again, guys. Appreciate you. I know we got to get it done. Appreciate you showing up, and we will see y'all next week.
Later, guys.
Peace out.